Welcome to Sat Sangat Astrology. Today I'm here to speak about the eclipse season and also specifically about the Pisces lunar eclipse occurring depending on where you are in the world, August 27th in the west coast of the North America, 28th of August 2026 in other parts of the world. What is a lunar eclipse? Let's start with the basis, right? And this is a picture published by Time and Date. They have incredible, very informative resources. I highly recommend timeanddate.com. It's a website dedicated to the weather, to the astronomy, and has a wealth of information. So this is the picture showing what a lunar eclipse is, right? First of all, eclipses happen when the sun, the earth, and the moon are aligned in the same line. Because lunations happen every month, of course, and we don't have an eclipse every month. What happens is that eclipses occur when they are close, about 18 degrees one way or the other from the nodes of the moon. And the nodes of the moon are the geometrical point marking the intersection of the moon's orbit around the Earth and the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. At that intersection, we have the nodes of the moon. So when the three cosmic bodies are aligned, then what happens is that in the case of the lunar eclipse, the Earth is intercepting the sunlight. That's why the shadow of the Earth is cast over the moon, and usually the moon appear red. So there is nothing tragic or bloody about lunar eclipses. It's just the color that the moon takes when the shadow of the Earth is cast over her surface. Okay, so there's nothing tragic about that. Having explained that, this is a penumbral or partial solar eclipse, and the surface of the moon will be covered at about 90%. It is another eclipse that will bring surprises in events unexpected, and probably some events that are out of the blue, right? Very dramatic or changes, drastic changes, because the sun and the moon are almost exactly square Uranus, and Uranus always brings surprises, right? Things that we never expected. Well, that's what happens. Okay, so before we analyze the chart, I would like to explain to you the outer bounds, because at this event, the moon is not out of bounds. However, there are two planets out of bounds. One is Mars and the other is Pluto. And these are very important because of the nature of their archetype. So out of bounds is when a planet is transiting by declination farther or outside of the declination of the sun, right? The sun goes from our perspective on Earth 23, 26 minutes north and 23, 26 minutes south. So, what it means is that with respect to the Earth orbital planet, we have this variation because the equator, as you see here, the equator or equator is tilted. So that is mainly the astronomical explanation of why we say the planet is out of bounds or out of the rules of the ruler, which is the sun, which is the center of the solar system. So what happens when Mars is out of bounds? Well, it doesn't follow its own archetype. It can exaggerate its traits, or it can take them to extremes. So Mars will be out of bounds between the 3rd and the 28th of August, meaning that it will be out of bounds during this eclipse. So these are the traits that could be possible for Mars, but in any case, imagine a soldier who goes overboard, like it happened recently, right? What exact archetype this soldier has represented for a Mars out of bounds, right? It's not every day that a soldier jumps overboard. So this is really out of the normal. So this is very representative of what Mars represents when it's out of bounds. So because emotions are extreme, and that happened when the moon was out of bounds as well. So if you think about it, you have to be daring and brave and have an extreme will and excess of physical vitality to do such things. Now, it can also be extreme, belligerent, reckless, impulsive, and brutally violent. So war may take a turn for the worse as well. But I would say Mars is in Cancer. So Mars, even though it is potent, Cancer does not diminish the archetype of Mars at all. What it does is change the focus, it's change its activity, the reason why Mars fights. And in this case is in defense of its own, right? In defense of home, family, the home country, in defense of what is taken for safety, for shelter, for it's defensive of our homes, the shelter and the protection of our home and protection of our families, right? Remember the crab, it has a crust outside that protects its mushy insides, right? So, and Mars is there to protect, to defend, to be a soldier that is protective of that safety. much more than being aggressive to obtain different objectives than protection. It's more self-serving than going after something else. Okay, so that's Mars, but also we have Pluto out of bounds, and Pluto will be out of bounds until December the 10th, and it started right on the eclipse, the solar eclipse, August the 12th. So Pluto out of bounds can be extremely cruel. It can show as extreme manifestations of power and forceful manipulation and to subdue, to fight. In this case, is in Aquarius, is out of bounds south, and it's also very different from when it was out of bounds north, right? I take the example of the French Revolution, where Pluto was out of bounds north in Leo, right? And it was all about, sorry, it was out of bounds in Aquarius, sorry. So it was reforming society, right? During the French Revolution, Pluto in Aquarius, so was fighting for the people, right? But if you think about it, there was a lot of violence and extreme violence. And by 1793, because this period of Pluto out of bounds in Aquarius was from 1777 to 1797. And by 1793, we had the reign of terror. And it was extreme manifestations of power, manipulation, killing politicians, and killing the nobility and the royalty, and it was extreme cruelty, right? Blood, running in the streets. It was horrible. So it's not one thinks of the French Revolution is very romantic, very because there was the rights of people, the civil rights, the human rights, and all that jazz. But we often forget that it was the cost was lives of people, right? It was mass death. And with this Pluto out of bounds since 2025, we already started seeing mass death and reformation of society. And well, these are the few first years, but over time it may change, right? And I encourage you to read Rosie Finn's Persephone's Revolution book, because she did a research, right? She spent 10 years researching Pluto out of bounds north and south, and she explains how it works, right? In Aquarius south, Pluto favors the society, the reformation of society, whereas when Pluto is out of bounds north, is favors the power in a few hands, right? Like for example, during the Second World War, where just a few people had so much power that they started eliminating masses of people, right? So this is what we need to learn about out of bounds Pluto. I will talk more about in future videos. And one other thing I wanted to say about this. Okay, so I think that for Pluto in Aquarius is enough for now. I encourage you to visit my blog, satsangatastrology.blogspot.com, where I have articles that refer to the things that are happening right now astrologically. I explain how they work. If you're interested, here I have my English written websites at sangatastrology.blogspot.com. I also have a Spanish written lotusastral.blogspot.com. And if you like to learn astrology with me, don't hesitate to contact me. So before we go to analyze the Pisces lunar eclipse chart, I would like to share with you that I teach 12 months or a year course, Foundations of Astrology, where I teach you 2 classes a month, and with 1 hour personal exchange every month to answer the questions regarding how you are applying those things that you're learning to your own chart. So this means that you will be learning as we go to analyze your own or another person's chart or any person's chart. So you apply what you learn to the practical studies of astrology. So now, sorry about this. So let's go back to the chart. So here we have the chart of the lunar eclipse. As we have seen for months previously, we have the first planet that is clockwise facing the open and empty space of the chart is Pluto. And this is the planet that leads all the transits, right? So it is said that this planet, it is showing us that everything that we do starts with a transformation, a reformation of society, right? And it also is a reformation of politics. You know, Aquarius represents ideologies, science, technology. So there is a permanent reformation. And how does it end? Everything goes around, and how does it end? With Venus in Libra. So hopefully this means that we will achieve some level of peace or peace agreements. But in any case, we can say that everything needs with refinement of humanity and more balance and more interest in having an equilibrium. But it also may end with issues, financial issues or relationship issues. So that's in general, but the other thing to consider in this chart is that the main sources of energies are air, Aquarius, and Gemini, and fire, Leo and Aries. And now we have a little water with Mars and Ceres, and some Earth as well with the Sun and Mercury, which is something new from previous months. So we have some water and Earth, meaning that we have the possibility of giving shape or giving physical, tangible form to the ideas, the inspiration that we have had from the fire signs. Okay, so here we have Mars out of bounds and Pluto out of bounds, right next to the very limit, so very, very close to the limit, but out of bounds. And they are what is called contra-parallel, meaning like a similar to an opposition by declination, meaning that Mars is north and Pluto is south. Here at the bottom, you have north and south. So all the planets declination south are here. All the planets declination north are here on the left. Okay, and here you have in pink the degrees of declination they have. So, okay, so that is in general. Let me take to my notes. Okay, so um, according to the astrology Judith Hill, she says the North Node eclipse is where the celestial tide is coming in. And is Rahu, or the North Node, is the great mouth of the ecliptic. So what does she mean by that? It means that the North Node attracts energy. So the energy comes in, and it's like the mouth of the monster, or the mouth of Rahu is the mouth of the monster. So it eats, right? But it doesn't keep much because Ketu on the other side, it's excreting, right? Ketu would be like the anus, right, of the monster, and Rahu will be the mouth. So, which means that a North Node eclipse is an incoming energy through the moon. So it brings material gain. It represents greed, opening to the world, the hunger for compassion in this case. It is not only the sign of Pisces, is the decan of Pisces, and is the Egyptian term of Venus. So there is a lot of compassion and eagerness for peace and for harmony. And considering that Venus is in Libra, so there is this hunger for peace. And it's also looking for a spiritual meaning, Pisces, right? And popularity, it is some very strong emotions, and even the coming in of a lot of water, right? Pisces can be tears, crying, and it could be a lot of rain, it could be flooding, it could be a lot of water retention in the human body. And it's also a lunar eclipse in general, especially in the North Node. It points to women, to mothers, and public figures, especially female public figures, and that are public and come to prominence one way or another. So a lunar eclipse is also the completion or the maximum potential of the lunar cycle that started with the solar eclipse. So in this case is the maximum potential of this lunar cycle. But also, I would say eclipses in the Virgo Pisces have been uh, going on for a year and a half already, since September 2024. And there will be another lunar eclipse in Virgo, but it will be, I think, in February. Let me see, next year, definitely. So Virgo, yeah, February 20th, 2027, and it's a lunar eclipse at 2 degrees of Virgo. So very close where the sun is now. So all these details we need to keep in mind. But by saying that these eclipses have been going on for a while, what I want to say is that no matter if you had or didn't have any planets or points, there was a process developing in those houses for you. So look around your chart and see what houses. In this one, for example, it would be Virgo, the fourth house, and Pisces, the 10th house. So it means that if you had a chart ascendant Gemini, for example, you would have had those eclipses affecting your home, your family, the place where you live, the house where you live, and also your career. But because those houses are angular houses, they also affected your first house and your seventh house, right? If you have angular eclipses, then the whole life turns around. Suppose that you had a change in career, right? Okay, you got a job, I don't know, 3,000 miles away, you need to move. So your home will change. And you probably will change relationships as well, because you're leaving behind people, I don't know, maybe friends or partners, even, and your own life, your own outlook, and your vitality may change. I mean, everything will change if you have eclipses angular to your chart. So this is a way to look at it. More so affected will you be if those eclipses were conjunct any planets or points. For example, September 17, 2024, it was the first Pisces eclipse. Next was September 7th, 2025 at 15 degrees. The previous was 25 degrees, the first one. The second in Pisces was 15 degrees. And try to remember what experiences you had back then. And there is an accumulation of changes and events in those houses. And also, related to the planets that those eclipses or angles that those eclipses fall on to. Okay, so now Pisces is ruled by Jupiter traditionally, and Neptune now, modern. So Jupiter is in Leo, and Leo is, of course, a fire sign, and Jupiter is kind of happy in a fire sign because It likes to expand inspiration, expand the self, expands the optimism, the generosity, expand the good qualities of Leo. As well as the bad qualities as well. I have to say that every sign, and I don't mean people with sun in Leo, I mean the archetype of the sign. So we have to consider that every sign has its own shadows. And the shadow of Leo is egotism, narcissism, and things uh, for me, and I am the best, and I am the center of the universe, and such attitudes that are very negative. So it depends on how you work your sign and house of Leo, how Jupiter will affect you. If you are a very spiritual person, maybe your Jupiter expanding the sign of Leo could mean that we increase you increase your spiritual practice, for example, or you become an authority in your church or your synagogue or your mascot or mosque or whatever practice you may become an authority, for example, a priest or something, or a nun or a monk, so it depends, of course, of your own personal chart and the choices that you make in your life. So if you would like to learn how eclipses are affecting you, you can order a personal, private, and confidential consultation with me. So just writing to my email that will be in the description box below, and also in the last slide of this presentation. So okay, so then the ruler of the sun here in Virgo is Mercury, and Mercury is conjunct the sun, and it is actually out of Cazimi, so it's combust. When Mercury is Cazimi, it is within 17 minutes of the sun degree, right? And Mercury in this position is farther from 17 minutes of orb, so it is combust. And when Mercury is combust, it means that it is overwhelmed by the sunbeams. And when is Kazimi, of course, there is, Eureka and illumination moments of learning or communicating ideas. And for a natal chart, it could be an identification of your ideas and your communication with your own self, right? But being combust is different. So it's away, as I said, 17 minutes from the sun. And we may not really have the correct information, or the proper information may be hidden, or we may not understand what is actually going on. So watch out for these things, because at the same time, Mercury and the Sun and the Moon are in square. Here you see the red triangle are in square, almost perfect, with Uranus. So Uranus can bring the tower moment, right? The tower that falls down and we are confused. Of course, if suppose that we had a fire and our house falls down and disappears in the fire, of course, we will be confused. If, for example, the boss sends us an email saying, well, we don't need you anymore, you're fired, right? So we will be confused. Suppose that there is an accident and you end up in the hospital. Well, you will be confused of things, how things will go from here, etc. So Uranus, unfortunately, brings radical breaks, breakthroughs or breaks down. And Uranus usually does not anticipate. Uranus comes and it's like the thunderbolt that comes and boom, you are down, or or something happens. It doesn't mean that it will always be negative, but you can be sure that it will completely turn your life around. So suppose that your boss says, well, now we need you to fulfill this position that is requiring more responsibility. So you are actually improving, ascending, and you may be confused as well, because the thing is that you don't know what to expect yet. You probably need additional training or orientation or whatever it means, right? So suppose that you are applying to rent a house and you said, well, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, if they will accept my application, etc. And then it's the place of your dreams. You love it. Well, surprise, you get approved and you get the place of your dreams. So it doesn't mean that it will always be negative. Of course, it depends on your life. It depends on whatever you need for your personal and spiritual development, because these outer planets don't talk about things of every day, the little details, Virgo, the minutiae of life. No, the big planets, the outer planets, talk about spiritual things, things that go beyond what is the daily concerns. Okay, so when there is an opposition, like in the case of a lunar eclipse, there is always relationships in play. So let me turn this around because my ear is getting tired. Anyways, so relationships. So think about this lunar eclipse. Suppose that you are under contract in a job, right? And then you have a lunar eclipse on the seventh house, and your contract is resigned, or you resign the contract, right? So that could be a surprise as well. So then you have a relationship breakthrough or breakdown, depending on how and the reasons, etc. So this is what it means to have an opposition between the sun and the moon. Is also an opposition of the conscious factors of life with the unconscious, right? And the moon is being eclipsed. So it means that your emotional aspect of your life, the psychological, the way you react to events in life are eclipsed, meaning that consciousness dominates with a lunar eclipse. So all of a sudden, you are made conscious of something, especially something that you didn't really see when there was a solar eclipse in Leo. Remember that we started to see and understand once on the 19th of August, Mercury conjunct the very degree of the solar eclipse. That day, you probably, 19th of August, you probably had a better understanding. That was also the day of the quarter moon, or the waxing square, when the moon and the sun were in a 90-degree angle and the moon was in Scorpio. So that day, 19th of August, may have already shown you some of the meanings of the solar eclipse. Now you have a full light eclipse on the moon, and the sun is dominating. So now the sun gives you the answers. One of the interesting things is that it's not clearly marked here, but the sun and Mercury are not only opposing the moon, but the moon is at the midpoint between Neptune and Pluto, which are very, very close to exactitude in a sextile. So we have what is called a finger of God. So you see the opposition here and the sextile here. It means that we have a 150-degree angle between the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto, 150 degrees to Neptune as well. So in reality, you have 240 degrees from Pluto going around like this, and 150 from Neptune. So the aspect the Sun and Mercury is making with Pluto is a scorpionic aspect, because it's 240 degrees and it coincides with the energy of Scorpio. So it means that whatever happens here in your chart, it will be due to a transformation of Pluto in Aquarius, right? So here you will have a powerful transformation, maybe a crisis, something that is emulated to an end and a restart, right? Because Scorpio is associated with death and rebirth, meaning that something may finish and something else may be born, right? And the relationship 150 from Neptune, it may mean that you need to have an adjustment to solve a problem, because it is the energy of Virgo, which is the sign where the Sun and Mercury are. And so there is something that could be an inspiration. So a dissolution of boundaries, conflicts of limits, or even border conflicts. um, the need to give form to things that we have imagined, um, and Neptune in Aries at the mundane level, for example, every time Neptune is in a fire sign, it may bring drought or lack of water, whatever it may mean, right? Um, and all the consequences. For example, we have seen drought everywhere in the world, in fact, and that may lead to, for example, discoveries on the places that were previously covered by the water. We may have discoveries like shipwrecks or treasures that were submerged for centuries, like ancient cities, for example, or fossils. In about a month ago, there was fossils of a mammoth discovered under the Danube that is now dry. And Neptune in Aries also represents impulsive wars, impulsive Aries, and Neptune, and impulsive wars with not a very good plan. For example, very confusing wars of deception also, and aiming at wiping out whole civilization and empire systems, and as well as historical unearthing of civilizations, right? It could be disputes of territory, borders, conflicts, and regulation of substances, for example, and systematic dealings with addictions, right? Being treated medically. Uh, Oftentimes is a realization of dreams, right? And in this 150-degree angle with the sun and Mercury, we are thinking about how to make the dream real. And it can also mean the aggression or invasion of oceans and water from the ocean onto land. So Pluto in Aquarius, as I said before, represents the reformation of society. It is also associated with mass death, and is also in the Egyptian term of Mercury, which is reformation and oftentimes manipulation of communication devices, which we have seen enough, right? Since 2023, the first time Pluto entered this place, we have seen, and Pluto takes it from the underworld out and shows to everybody. So the manipulation of social media, the manipulation of the information chains, where we don't really know what is true, what is not, and this is due to the sextile between Neptune and Pluto, right? Neptune is the fantasy of reality, the imagination, the deception, and Pluto is the manipulation, meaning that between the two of them have been working with a lot of propaganda since they started their sextile long time ago, about 80 years ago. Okay, so all that to say that this Sun and Mercury are in between, and the moon is midpoint between the two of them. So it may mean the finally understanding what we are subjected to. So, and having an epiphany, if you like, of things that were hidden before. Because Pisces also is between two lights, right? Pisces can see through to the other side. So hidden things that are not very obvious. Okay, so Pluto in Aquarius not only the mean is associated with society reformation, but also overhaul of the social structures, the demolition and the death and rebirth of the consciousness, the collective consciousness. So. It could also be associated with the changes in climate because Aquarius is about the atmosphere. Okay, so anyways, and I am still, I have some more information for you. So I want to analyze deeply the chart so you can apply these explanations to your own chart, right? And if you like to know how you personally are affected by these, just give me a holler, right? Send me an email with your information. Okay, we have another configuration here, and we have, as I said, Venus in Libra, very happy at home, but she is in a sesquiquadrat with the moon, or the moon with her, and she is sesquiquadrat Uranus, and moon and Uranus are in a square. This is a very potent triangle. And actually, it means that this moon and Venus have been attempting to do things, right? To do something. And one time they tried one time, they tried two, they tried so many times, but unsuccessfully. And what a sesquiquadrat means, according to The Eagle and the Lark by the astrologer oh, Bernadette Brady. So, sesquiquadrat is an angle of frustration, and we cannot achieve what we are set in the mind to do, and we need to change plans. So, hopefully, having this eclipse moon, we may find an issue to a problem. And so the issue, you need to see where these fall in your chart, right? Suppose that Libra is your Libra is your eighth house, and Pisces is your first house. So now the moon is eclipsed in your own person, meaning that you don't have access to your for a moment or some time. You don't have access to the unconscious or subconscious or the psyche, and Venus is showing or trying to solve some problems with shared resources, with taxes or such. So what happens is that you now realize that you need to stop what you were doing that were not successful, and you need to go and do something different in order to solve those resources, right? And the same for the sesquiquadrate with Uranus. So the answer to this frustration, be it financial issues, because Venus rules money and resources and such, but it also rules relationships, right? The way to earn money is if you have a relationship with someone, right? If you have a commerce, a business, you have a relationship and you can make money by exchange goods or services, right? So I think making money and relationships are very interrelated. Okay, so now you have been frustrated with the surprises and trying to make peace or agreements with someone, and there's no way. But now the moon is squaring Uranus. So now we have the issue, the solution to this issue. You have a conflict between you and some family members, because if Pisces is your first house, then Uranus is in the fourth house. So now you have a conflict that you need to resolve because the square invites you to action. So you do something, or not only a family member, it could be your home, your house. Suppose that I don't know, the roof fell down, and that's Uranus, right? A surprise, the roof fell down, and so now you, the moon in Pisces in the first house, suppose, you need to get out of the house. Okay, so that is the solution to these sesquiquadrates. Okay, so let's talk about Mercury, which rules Virgo and the Sun. It is at home, but it's invisible. It's out of the sun already, but it was in a superior conjunction, meaning the Cazimi was with Mercury on the other side of the sun from our perspective on Earth. Okay, so here Mercury is, as I said, a little debilitated, even though it is in your home. Communications are hindered, deals, business, commerce, negotiations are not fluid, right? And it also rules Uranus. So whatever happens here with the Sun and Mercury is affecting Uranus because it rules the sign of Gemini. So now let's talk about Jupiter. I think I already spoke about that. Okay. So there is one more thing about Jupiter. It's in trine with applying a trine to Saturn. So we need to go back to December 2020 when Saturn and Jupiter were conjunct here in Aquarius, right next where Pluto is now. So remember that it is the Egyptian term of Mercury and the decan of Aquarius as well. So it's all about communications, information, whatever you if it is your career, for example, then it's all about deals and business, right? So this trine is now giving form and realizing whatever it was started, or giving way, or favoring what was started in December 2020. Let's go faster through these. Now we have Ceres and Mars conjunct here for some time already. And there could represent, because Mars is square, Mars and Ceres is squaring Neptune. So it could be unrealistic perception of what is nurturing. Okay, disappointment, deception, the solution of with the resources, distribution of food, right? Food resources. And we may feel a lack or need to adopt lack of food or resources for the sustenance of life, and the need to adopt victim thinking. Oh, poor me, I don't have food, right? And it's very, it's a problem that will be increasing. I am right now doing a research on Ceres, because Ceres is the next few years will be going out of bounds, even farther than 30-degree declination. It will be out the chart. So, and I am studying the association of this declination with factors of famine, meaning that there could be lack of food in the years that are coming in the near future. So, but I haven't come to a conclusion yet. I am doing a research on that. So, so there will be then victimization and even deception. So be careful with food, because there could be also contamination of food. Ceres and Neptune are not very good friends. And Neptune also carries bacteria, fungus, parasites, and such. So we could continue seeing contamination of food, pollution due to the pollution of the soil, right? But we may take defensive actions, and because we feel that we have fallen victim of such things, such deceptions. Okay. Oh. So one of the things that is important to consider is that Venus is opposing the 20-degree Aries, which is the midpoint between Moon and Uranus. So Venus in opposition to this midpoint, which is in the decan of Mars, no, in the it's in the decan of Sagittarius, but the term of Mars. So Venus is actually opposing the themes of war, conflict, and we know Venus in Libra wants peace, harmony, agreements, and such. So I already said that, and now Let's come to Mars. Out of bounds is applying to a square with Saturn. And at the same time, as I said, Mars is contra parallel Pluto by declination. Um, so this means that Mars in Cancer wants action, right? It is uh, it is doing something defensive, as I said, but his ambition is frustrated. It's burning anger, frustration of action, ruthless ambition, heavy overload or workload, overwork, right? It could mean that you are working extra, but you are not going very far because Saturn is blocking you. So it is also an angle of great responsibility. You need to make twice the effort, Mars, twice the effort, and repeat the action in order to achieve normal tasks. So there is a risk of injury. If you try to, suppose that you are exercising, make sure that you exercise in a defensive way. So you don't risk being having an accident or having an injury. There is also a risk of exhaustion if working too much or making too much of an effort. One thing to consider is that Mars is ruling Saturn. So Saturn is here, the power and the authority for the war, but it's retrograde, so it is even stronger, like grinding and grinding. And Mars is saying, well, you cannot continue aggression. We need to protect ourselves first instead of attacking, defend ourselves. So any action, any work, it is oriented to protect and defend what is ours: the family, the home country, the house, family members, right? But there could be a lot of frustrations, aggravations, legal problems, and problems with authorities, hardship, adversity. And at the level of health, Mars is irritating and is in Cancer is boiling waters. So emotions will be very high, and it's Mars in Cancer irritates the stomach. So it also may mean in square with Saturn, it may mean accidents that break bones, make bruises, torn muscles, headaches, fever, inflammation, stomach ache, acid reflux. So Mars in square with Saturn may help us realize that we need cooperation in order to protect ourselves, to protect the planet, the home, and humanity, and to protect life in general, right? Cancer is the sign of nurturance, of shelter life in order for us to survive. Okay, so I think we squeezed already this chart to the maximum. If you have questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Here you have my email address and my website, and I hope you comment below, and we start a conversation, a relationship in astrology, and you give me your ideas and your questions maybe. So I really appreciate your visiting my channel and listening to this video. I know it was a long video, but I think eclipses deserve to have a very detailed idea of what is going on, so we can make up how the energy will affect us. Because it's not only the moon eclipse, but all the other planets are contributing to what the eclipse may mean for us. Anyways, if you would like to make a comment, please do subscribe, give it a like, and I really appreciate your supporting me, and I'll see you next time.